I'll say right now, the next two, I'll admit, do have some problems. They could have been better in some aspects, and that's why I'm including on the list. So, with hard thinking, I have finally agreed to put number 5, Spider-Man Homecoming. This movie is really fun. It's simple, it has no specific plot. There's a lot of great moments. Michael Keaton is fantastic as the Vulture. And yeah, this was probably long before we got newer Spider-Man films. This was the best Spider-Man film to come out recently. And I can see why. Even now, just a few years later, it's still a great film. And it's fun, it's got humor, it's got great characters. The only problem I have it is that Tony Stark can be a bit of a dick sometimes, and sometimes I really don't like the Avengers and Spider-Man story because they kind of come across as condescending douchebags that mean well. In the end, they make the hero feel bad, and that's why I didn't really like the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon in some aspects. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Nova, asshole. But Spider-Man Homecoming is probably, for me at least, probably my favorite Tom Holland Spider-Man film. It just embodies the character, and this is just a really great one. My problem with Far From Home is that it tried to recapture this movie's energy, but it just doesn't work. For this film, it's perfectly valid, and it's just a great film. So, yeah. Alright. We're getting there. Top 5, baby! Let's see what we got next. Number 4. Our last hot take on the list. The Amazing Spider-Man. Okay. Now, how do I say this? I absolutely love this film, but I see its problems. But that doesn't change the fact that I think this is probably, next to Spider-Man Homecoming, this is the most grounded interpretation of Peter Parker that I've ever seen. And it takes a lot of inspiration from the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. And even to the point where some scenes are similar. And I love the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, but sometimes they can be a bit too cruel to Peter. However, this perfectly shows Peter slowly becoming a hero and slowly getting through the rough patches of his life. And there's just so many moments that I really love. I think a lot of scenes with Peter and Gwen are very cute. The Lizard is a great villain, and Dr. Connors is very relatable in that sort of sense. Sally Field and Martin Sheen are great in this. Martin Sheen is very funny at times, but he really shows that sort of authoritarian guardian outtake that Uncle Ben is, and takes more charge. Um, Kind of shows more domestic side of Peter's family. Sally Fields is actually once again amazing, as she always is. Then again, she is my favorite movie ever, Mrs. Doubtfire. And I really like Dennis Leary. I completely overlook him when I think about Spider-Man villain. Sorry, not villains. Spider-Man movies, and I actually thought he was really cool. Captain Stacy as a character, um, he shows more of an authoritative look in the sense that he respects what Spider-Man is trying to do, but his methods are a bit more crude and a bit more ambiguous in the sense that you can see how he's like a villain. And, I just. Oh. I love this film. My brother doesn't like it, but I absolutely adore this movie, and I enjoy watching it. Whether it's just to have something in the background, or whether it's just to have a more grounded take on Spider-Man. So I really think we should give this movie another chance. I mean, the sequel is, the sequel, but it doesn't shy away from the best aspects of Andrew Garfield as this grounded, well mannered, and self disciplined and self tortured interpretation of Peter Parker. and Spider-Man. Also, in my honorable mentions, how I said I can make a Doctor Who joke about Matt Smith being in Morbius. Rewatching Doctor Who, I also remembered and was surprised to find out Andrew Garfield was in an episode. Yeah, Daleks in Manhattan. Evolution of the Daleks. You know, the one with pigs. Yeah, that was a weird one. Anyways, number 3. Spider-Man No Way Home. This is the movie that has it all. The same storyline as Spider-Verse, and the same storyline as, well, yeah, as I mentioned, both Spider-Verse movies. I adore this film for its homages to the past 5 films that preceded it. Well, excluding the other 2 Tom Holland films. Peter is given more depth, and it shows a more sympathetic side to Spider-Man, and something I've never seen in the movies before, where Spider-Man tries even harder to help his villains. He tries to give Octavius a chance, tries to give Connors a chance in the last few movies, but in the end, when it seems like they'll die, even after everything, he's going to help them. And that just gives me hope. Sometimes I feel like Doctor Strange fills the gap that Iron Man did as a bit of a dick, while still being right in some aspects. I really did enjoy Benedict Cumberbatch, and I love all the side characters, and although we didn't get to see properly Thomas Hayden Church and Rhys Ifans, due to the fact that this movie was made during the pandemic, seeing them back again was really great. Jamie Foxx was given more as Electro, so that was great. And I was thinking, wow, it's really weird that he's a human and now he shoots electricity as opposed to blue electricity. But yeah, he's great. Dr. Octavius, yes. The faux goblin, yes. This movie pretty much has everything. And apart from that, it's probably one of the most realistic and best takes on Spider-Man. So, and probably still my favorite take on the Spider-Verse. Probably next to Shattered Dimensions, but then again, I didn't play Shattered Dimensions. I just watched the cutscenes and acted like a nerd. But pretty much, Spider-Man Far From Home is probably my favorite Spider-Man Tom Holland film. And is probably the best one. However, we got 2 more. Yeah, that's right. You didn't think I'd forget Toby, did ya? Yeah, look at the video. I was probably gonna mention it. Now, I've just mentioned Spider-Man 3, not that long ago. But, yeah, in Far From Home, he was in that too, with Andrew. But I absolutely adore Tobey Maguire as an actor and as Peter Parker. Which, at number 2, inconveniently enough, is Spider-Man by Sam Raimi. This, in my opinion, is probably the best structure you could have for a comic book film. It takes everything you need to know about the Spider-Man mythos, simplifies it in a cinematic sense, and makes it the definitive Spider-Man movie. And also, probably my favorite movie ever. I adore this film. I can quote it off by heart, and despite all the memes and the jokes, I love the drama. I love the final fight, probably my favorite scene in the movie. And not only was this probably the best Spider-Man movie, but probably my favorite movie ever. Which cuts us to number 1. As I now talk about the most obvious choice, number 1, I'm greeted with our guest reviewer, Ewan Robert Douglas. Ewan, have any words? Alright, none. Anyway, Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie, bar none. Though there are a lot of great ones out there, this is... Oh yeah, I had like 13 on the list. You weren't there for that part. No, you were out with Mom. Yeah. I would have invited you, but... Yeah, okay. But, yeah. Since I believe that Spider-Man 1 is probably the best Spider-Man movie... Yeah. Yeah, he's over there, probably. I don't know. Spider-Man 1 is probably the best Spider-Man movie in my opinion. But Spider-Man 2 takes everything great about it and exceeds it. So, it has great comedy. It's got the building scene coming down, the train scene. It's got everything. Did that I say? That's all, and thank you. Any closing off words, you want? Excelsior!